today's video, I'm gonna go over how I edit a cinematic real estate listing video. We're gonna go over everything from how to edit to music, how to do zoom throughs, how to actually fix barrel distortion, how to do cross dissolves, and we'll even find out that I don't know the name of one of the tools. I'm going to use my slip editor. If I'm saying that wrong, if it's not a slip editor, just call me out. Call me a dumbass in the comments, and I'll gladly accept your scorn. And at the end of the video, I'll show you the final edit. And I also have a free shot list guide for those of you who are just starting out, and that's gonna be in the description. It's gonna be great, so let's go. All right, so I've got my project loaded up here, and I've got my files in walkthrough order. I sorted them in Adobe Bridge, and then I named them and put them all in exactly the way I want them laid out. I don't usually do this for myself when I'm editing because I know how I shot it. But when I send this off to an editor, which I do on occasion, I like to put everything in walkthrough order so it makes things very easy for them so there's no confusion about anything. So that's what I've done here just to make it super simple. And so now I'm just going to create a new project. And it's going to be 4K and at 29.97 frames per second. And I'm just going to go over to see where I want this clip to actually start. Maybe somewhere around there. And now that we've got that, I'm going to bring the music on the timeline. Oops. All right, so that looks good for the first clip. So what I do is I'll go through each clip and I'll just scrub through and figure out where I want the, which area of the clip I want. This one I had already done previously. So it's already where I want it. So I'm gonna hit E to bring it on the timeline. And I'm gonna hit Shift S. That is a shortcut that I created to slow the footage down to 25%. So if I'm shooting at 120 frames per second, I can slow down my ground level footage to by 75% to keep it at 29.97 frames per second. Actually, this is a drone shot, so I can't do that. That was only shot at 60 frames a second, so I got to change it to 50%. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add a zoom effect on here. I use this target zoom that I got from Motion VFX. I quite often, it makes things go a lot quicker for me. If I can find it. There we go. So I'll show you what it looks like before and afterwards. So I change this to 50%. See how it'll zoom in even more. Okay, and then I'm going to just pump up the saturation just a little bit on this. And now we'll go to our next clip. I'm going to hit I for in. That's my in point. I'm going to let it just go all the way up to here. Right, maybe there. And I'm going to hit O for out and then hit E to bring it on the timeline. This one, I'm going to reduce that to 25%. So right there, I'm going to have it go into the interior shot. So I'm going to do a zoom through on this shot. So that's the beat one of the next measure on the music. So what I'm going to do, I don't know why this music's on here twice. I'm going to take that off. Is I'm going to back up just a little bit before it gets to the one on the beat, And then I'm going to hit Shift B for a speed break. And then I'm going to speed the back half up of this by 20 times. I'm going to see how that looks. It can be a little bit of trial and error when you're trying to figure out exactly how far back you want to back it up before the beat. But let's see how we did. Okay, I think that's perfect. And I'm going to boost the saturation on this. I tend to boost the saturation quite a bit, or a decent amount on my exterior ground level footage with my Sony a7S III, because that's what I found, that the S-Cinetone color profile, for whatever reason, on exteriors, it's great to boost the saturation a little bit. On interiors, not so much. So just something to keep in mind. And then I'm going to bring in the interior clip, and then I'm also, after that, I'm going to change this music here because I want the beat to drop right there. Find my in point, out point, bring it on the timeline. So I want to go to where I want the speed ramp of this second half of this zoom through, where I want it to stop or slow down. And I want it to be right about there, I think. I'm going to hit Shift B, speed up the first half, and then drag the handles out. That's cool. It'll be even better if the beat is dropping right there, so it makes it a lot more impactful. You always have to pay attention to the music when you're doing this, because it does play a big role in the overall feeling or impression that people get when they watch these back. Okay, so that's where the beat drops. Right there. So I'm going to hit Command B, and then I'm going to go back here and see where the beat drops again over here. Right there. I may not get this perfect, but we're going to see how it sounds. And if I need to nudge it around, then I can do so. That's pretty good. I think I got it. So what I'm going to do, so it sounds a little less abrupt, is I'm going to click and drag this to extend this audio a little bit, and then I'm going to fade it in. That way it seems a little more seamless. That's cool. I am clipping here a little bit, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop the volume of everything by -1. Let's try -2.5. Okay, that works. And then next, I'm going to add motion blur to that clip, to both those clips. And then I'm also going to add a Ryan Nangle zoom in effect on here to sort of punch it up a little bit. Make sure it's right here. So we have zoom in 1 goes on the first side, and zoom in 2 goes on the second side. And let's see how that looks. Okay. And we got our next clip. Probably got in the wrong spot here. Hold on. I got there. Okay. I'm going to use another target zoom in here. I'm just going to snag this one from here by hitting Option and clicking and dragging that over. It's a little bit too much of a zoom. I'm going to put it back to 25%. I'm going to bring this up a little bit too, so try to center up the fireplace a little bit. Okay. Oops, dragging that on top. I sometimes get confused with the whole magnetic timeline thing. It trips me up a little bit, but that's all right. I'm also going to use the zoom on this as well. That's me talking. Okay, that looks good, except that there's a couple things with this. It looks slightly crooked, so I'm going to fix that. I'm going to rotate that clip by maybe 0.7. What if I did 1? Yeah, that's fine. And then I have to scale it up. If I don't scale it up, then I'm going to have some dead black space on both these ends. And then for that, I'm going to use a target zoom out because I think it just makes things look interesting. Yeah. This looks a little bit dark, so I'm going to brighten it up a little bit. I usually will brighten up the midtones. What do we got? Oh, here we go. Okay, I'm going to do a speed ramp in this clip. Shift B, speed this up by, let's say, 8 times. Looks pretty good. It's a little abrupt, so I'm going to drag out these handles. I'm going to slow this down a little bit. That looks good. Put a little motion blur on there. Forgot to add a whoosh sound effect to the prior shot, so I'm going to add that here and then add it to the shot before. I'm going to hit Option, hold it down, and then we'll bring it right here. Cool. All right, let's get a couple of detail shots in the kitchen. I'm going to turn that, I'm going to reverse this so that it's actually like, it seems like a push in. by doing Shift W. And then the other thing that I want to do here is I don't really like that I'm not revealing enough of the stove top there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit T. I forgot what that stands for, but it's like a slip editor. So you can grab your clip and just slip it like this. I guess that's what it's called. So slip. So basically this is showing me the beginning and end frame. And so now I can see that the pot is sort of out of the way at the end of the clip. And I think that works better. And then I also want to add the target zoom on that as well. So I'm just going to put it over both of these. And I'm going to change this so that the target is the middle. Cool. Let's see. Oh yeah, this clip. So I'm going to have the target zoom out on that one. Okay. And then I'm going to reverse this clip, sort of make it like a pull away shot. So this shot doesn't quite make it for that whole measure. So there's something that we can do to sort of cover that up. And I'll show you right now by doing, we'll add a clip on the next clip on top of that, and then we will cross dissolve into it. Okay, I actually stopped the camera movement right there. So what we'll do is we're going to grab our next clip. Start it maybe around there. Bring it on the timeline. And then I'm going to drop it over here. And what I'm going to do, I'm just dragging it on top. And then I'm going to hit Command T. And that sort of like makes you not worry about things being right on the beat as a viewer. So let's see what that looks like. And I'm going to do the same thing with the next clip because I'm having the same issue with this as well. Also just creates a little bit of variety to just add a cross dissolve sometimes. Let's see. I'll use this clip. And maybe this clip. And we'll use some target zooms. Let's see what it looks like without those. I got a bug in here. Got like a gnat or something flying around. It's bugging me. Yeah, that's cool. So I'm going to use my slip editor. If I'm saying that wrong, if it's not a slip editor, just call me out. Call me a dumbass in the comments, and I'll gladly accept your scorn. So I'm going to hit T and have this move over so that we can make sure that I'm actually revealing entirely that shower head. All right. And I am going to use the targets zoom. Let's see, I got a zoom in and a zoom out right there. Actually, I just want to use zoom out for both of these. No, I'm sorry. I want to use a zoom out for this one, the first one. And then a zoom in for this one. It's probably going to be like way too intense because I'm lowering the amount of time. It's not bad, actually. So there's something else I'll share with you real quick, that I'm using the 16 millimeter on a Sony, and you definitely can get some distortion. There is a plugin or an effect that you can get called Alex 4D. I don't remember if this is free or not, but I'll find out and I will leave it in the description if you want to grab it. It's pretty killer. But you're going to get barrel distortion on, you know, a lot of lenses that are out there. Getting zero distortion is, well, there are some lenses that do have zero distortion. But I just like the 16 to 35 Sony. It's what I want to use. So there's ways to fix that. It's not as noticeable in some clips as it is other clips. So when I see it and it's bugging me, I'll grab this and throw it on there, and I'll show you how it works. And then I'll show you like what it looks like before and after. So I just hit custom, and I usually end up just bringing this, just pushing this just a little bit, maybe somewhere around, yeah, like 0.03. Honestly, if you're going to use this plugin, you probably could just set it to point. If you're using the same setup that I'm using, you probably could just set it to 0.03 and just drop it on every single time. But you can see the lines right here are a lot straighter now than without it. Right here, it's kind of bowed, and here it's not. So it's a great plugin. It's super easy to use. It's really quick. I think I want to reverse this clip. Just feels more natural to me, I think. Cool. All right. And then we have some more interior shots. And then I'm just going to slip this in a little more. Target zoom on that one. I'm going to bring it down here because I want to focus more on this area. And let's see. do want to speed ramp this clip. So I'm going to go right here, hit Shift B, speed up the first half. And it would look weird, I think, if I just went from this clip into like a speed ramp like that. So a way you can make that look a little smoother is to drop this on top and then add a cross dissolve by hitting Command T. Okay, so then we're going to add motion blur. And then we'll throw a whoosh sound effect on top of it. I'm going to increase my saturation here. Let's see what we got next. Increase my saturation on this one too. This one I might change the exposure just a little bit, like boost up. It's a little bit dark right here. Boost up the mids just a little bit. And that's going to flatten things out, so I'm actually going to drop the shadows just a little bit, but here's the difference. See, I used his target zooms a lot on these videos. Up the saturation. I'm also going to create a little more contrast. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Command C to copy my settings, move it over to this, and paste. I'm only going to paste the coloring settings so that we can sort of match. Okay, so I'm going to do a speed ramp out into the pull away drone shot. Sorry, like a zoom through. Okay, so that's my one on the beat. I'm going to drop it back just a little bit and then hit Shift B for a speed break. And then I'm going to speed up the back half of this by 20. See if I got it looking good. Yeah, I think that's good. And then we'll go with our last clip here. And then we'll see how we fade out and finalize the video. Go. Is that the whole thing? No. Change this to 50%. Looks like my horizon line looks a little weird there. I don't think it is. I think it's fine. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing with speed ramping. And adding motion blur to both of these. Cool. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to trim all the edges here, by hitting Command B, and we're going to hit right here, Command T for fade. And then we're going to drag this handle from the audio over here so that fades that out.